as this year's drastic drop starts flattening over $2 with much lower volume. ZenaTech zealots are set to jet, or at least stay neutral to bullish heading into the next few weeks. So unless selling volume can consistently get above 2 million, and/or the broader market heavily sells off, an optimistic outlook is gradually growing, one that eyes clearing the 250 boundary by June. If this is achieved, we could see much larger moves than 20% bullish retracements heading into the second half of the year, or at least a well-defined trading range forming in the $2 region. Such ambition is fueled by ZenaTech recently completing its 21st acquisition by purchasing Andy Paris and Associates, a long-established land surveying firm in Oregon. This move strengthens ZenaTech's presence in the Pacific Northwest and enhances its ability to deliver drone-based inspections, surveys, and data services to business and government clients. Its broader strategy is to acquire traditional service firms and modernize them with AI drone automation, creating a scalable network that offers subscription-based drone services without requiring customers to own equipment. ZenaTech is also deepening its role in defense technology by planning a drone testing and manufacturing presence in Ukraine. The region provides a real-world, high-intensity environment for validating its interceptor drones and counter-UAS systems. It aims to produce cost-effective interceptor drones, such as the Interceptor P1, designed to neutralize hostile drones at a fraction of traditional defense costs. These efforts support growing global demand for counter-drone solutions, a market expected to expand significantly as drone warfare evolves. At the same time, ZenaTech, through its subsidiary ZenaDrone, is advancing aerial, indoor, and now underwater autonomous systems like the IQ Aqua for mine detection and infrastructure inspection, providing a plethora of reasons ZenaTech and its supporters see a bright future at the intersection of commercial drone services and defense applications, targeting strong growth in both the rapidly expanding drones as a service market and the global counter-UAS sector. Speaking of brightness, LWLG showed extreme bullish momentum, going on a solid incline right after a gap up, then capping it all off with a big bullish spike. Now, if price can't keep closing over 10, a drop back down to 8 would be a completely normal correction. Anything lower than 8 would start to enter reversal territory. Some reasons long-term investors see the light for LWLG has to do with it continuing to advance the commercialization of its proprietary Perkinamine electro-optic polymer platform, which enables ultra-high-speed data transmission with low power consumption in compact form factors. In 2025, it made significant progress transitioning from research validation toward structured commercialization, demonstrating high-speed, low-voltage performance, improved reliability, and compatibility with silicon photonics ecosystems. Key partnerships with GDS Factory and Global Foundries have integrated LWLG's high-speed modulators into process design kits, facilitating simulation. Recent and planned tapeouts target 200G and 400G per lane architectures for applications in data centers, AI acceleration, and other high-performance systems. Lightwave also signed a development agreement with Tower Semiconductor to enable high-speed modulators on Tower's PH18 silicon photonics platform, offering customers early participation in 2026 engineering tapeouts to validate performance for 200G and 400G architectures, including bandwidths above 110 GHz. Financially, Lightwave strengthened its balance sheet with a December public offering netting $32.8 million and a $4.9 million over-allotment, ending the year with approximately $69 million in cash and funding projected beyond December 2027. Revenue in 2025 reached $237,000 from licensing and non-recurring engineering, while net loss improved to $20.3 million, down from $22.5 million in 2024. R&D expenses decreased to $11.5 million, reflecting focused commercialization efforts, while general and administrative expenses rose to $9.5 million to support expansion. Lightwave now has 4 major foundry agreements, including Silterra and Global Foundries, with wafer runs underway or planned for the first half of 2026, and a back-end production ramp in Denver to support prototyping and scale-up for potential volume production in 2027. Stage 3 customer programs, including a Fortune Global 500 company targeting 1.6T transceivers at 200G per lane, are advancing toward wafer tapeouts, chip processing, and testing, with results expected in Q2 2026. Lightwave Logic's outlook for 2026 prioritizes advancing these programs, expanding its foundry ecosystem, optimizing 200G and 400G modulator performance, and preparing for operational scale-up in 2027. Positioning Lightwave to support next-generation, high-bandwidth optical interconnects in hyperscale and AI data center environments. Revenue growth from material supply and engineering services is anticipated in 2026, while broader volume production and licensing revenues are expected from 2027 onward as customer design wins mature and manufacturing scales. Down to ServiceNow, it showed strong bearish momentum, with 2 successive gap downs, which weren't filled, creating optimal conditions to break under the major 100 threshold. Though with clear short-term overselling, there should at least be a bit of a break in the fall. As we chart some possible routes price could take with Fibonacci extension and time zone levels, let's talk about ServiceNow facing a storm of bearish forces. Starting with UBS recently downgrading it from buy to neutral, citing slowing enterprise software spending. Corporate budgets are increasingly being redirected toward AI, data analytics, and infrastructure investments, leaving less room for traditional software solutions like ServiceNow's workflow and IT management platforms. This realignment is reflected in UBS's expectation of weaker growth in remaining performance obligations, now projected at 16% versus prior expectations of 20%, signaling fewer revenue beats ahead. The rise of advanced AI models has compounded investor concerns. Anthropic's announcement of its highly capable AI coding system, Claude Mythos, highlights a growing threat that AI agents could automate or disrupt software-as-a-service tasks, undermining long-established SaaS revenue models. This has amplified fears across the sector, triggering a broader sell-off in large software companies, including ServiceNow, Palantir, and Intuit. Even federal spending headwinds, with slower growth in government contracts, have contributed to near-term revenue pressures, adding to the stock's negative sentiment. Nonetheless, ServiceNow soldiers on, acquiring Armis, which strengthens its platform by integrating physical asset management and cybersecurity into its workflow ecosystem, expanding its addressable market and improving security offerings. Analysts also anticipate that federal revenue may rebound in the second quarter, and the company's AI and workflow capabilities remain relevant for digital transformation trends across enterprises. While near-term growth may be constrained, these moves position ServiceNow to leverage future enterprise demand for integrated, secure, and intelligent workflow solutions, suggesting potential long-term upside even as current investor sentiment reflects caution. Next, you remember Sandisk? The memory maker is still generally seen in a good light, but similar to the other charts, it could be due for a correction soon. Though in the long term, it's getting generally good publicity, because it will join the NASDAQ 100 index on April 20th, replacing Atlassian, reflecting a broader market shift toward hardware and infrastructure, supporting AI and data growth. The inclusion recognizes Sandisk's expanding market capitalization and strategic positioning in the global data storage and semiconductor sectors, including its $1 billion equity investment in Nanya Technology and the launch of a 256 terabyte enterprise SSD geared for AI data centers. Index inclusion is expected to drive significant institutional buying as funds tracking the NASDAQ 100, including the Invesco QQQ Trust, adjust their portfolios. This typically boosts visibility and liquidity for the constituent, often lowering its cost of capital. Sandisk stock has already seen strong gains, up over 150% year-to-date, reflecting investor enthusiasm for AI-related storage solutions. The reshuffle highlights the NASDAQ 100's focus on large-cap, non-financial innovators and signals investor preference for companies addressing AI infrastructure constraints, especially in the context of tight global memory supply.